for every player before they actually do it.
Yeah, and
before Giannis won it last year.
Yeah. Same thing.
It's the same for every player.
Only player.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Phaithful Phanatics show. As always, we are streamed to you guys live through DSM Media's Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube channel. If you're new to the channel, head on over to @DSM_media on Twitter. The link tree is in our bio to take you to every social media platform we are available on. Hit that subscribe button on our YouTube. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. We are all across the board. And today, I'm joined by two of my now co-hosts. You'll be seeing his face a lot more on the show. The college man right now, Kata Hot. Check him out on Twitter @KataHot79. Of course, my faithful co-host down below today, Matt McGinty. Check him out on Twitter @Matt_McGinty. And if you guys want to, you can find me on Twitter as well @DylanJD98. Fellas, today's going to be very simple. It's make or break time for the Philadelphia 76ers. As they lose game one in Miami from a final score of 106-92. We will be going over that mess of a performance, and then we will get into tonight's game and break down kind of how can they steal a game, who needs to step up, what's the biggest difference from game one to game two if they are to be successful. Doc Rivers' comments, I'm sure, will come up sometime throughout the show, but Gint, I'll throw it to you first. I felt like we had a good back and forth. I felt like we had a lot of positive things to say on Monday about the Philadelphia 76ers, and we thought they could pull out a W. They didn't. Where did you see that went devastatingly wrong?
Well, let's start with this. When we made our predictions, I had spoken to you about how I thought there was no chance DeAndre Jordan would, one, be in the starting lineup, let alone play in the game. So when I saw the starting lineup came out, the little hope we had, I think, really went out the door. And that's truthfully honest. Even though it's just a starting center, DeAndre Jordan is just a matchup nightmare. Bam Adebayo is a matchup nightmare for DeAndre Jordan is what I meant. But that's what I saw to start, obviously. We can jump into more players, obviously, but DeAndre Jordan is the little hope I had in game one was gone when that starting lineup was released, truthfully. He is a net negative in every way. I don't know how else to describe it. I'm not going to pinpoint just DeAndre Jordan. There's a lot more that went into the game than DeAndre Jordan, and we'll get into that. But the number one on the list, obviously, he's been Twitter. Everyone's been just bashing him, and well-deserved. It was a minus 22 in 17 minutes, and that's astronomically bad. But, again, there's more reasons why they lost game one, but I'll let you guys speak on some more before me.
Public enemy number one, DeAndre Jordan right now. But, Kata, what did you see that went wrong in game one for Philly?
Doc Rivers. I blame everything on him. Every time he opens his mouth, he says something more stupid. I want him out of here now. I don't care who you bring in here. You could bring a monkey in here and do a better job than Doc Rivers. Like, anybody would do a better job than Doc Rivers. He continues to do the wrong thing every single time out there and then publicly defends himself after. DeAndre Jordan sucks. It was very clear to everybody. Paul Reed was -3, and Charles Bassey had a +5. DeAndre Jordan was -22, and you decided, oh, let me just start him again. Why not? So I'd rather throw Tyrese Maxey in at center.
Let me throw this at you guys before we even move on from anything else.
I'm not moving on just yet.
His comments after. We'll jump into it.
Yeah.
Okay, so he goes, we're going to keep starting DJ, yada, yada. I don't know why. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt that that's a smokescreen. And teams have done it. Steve Kerr did it when Golden State won their first title. And they said they weren't going to make any lineup changes. Then they finally went to that small ball lineup with Draymond at the center. If he can't see that DeAndre Jordan is truly what he is in that game on Monday night, I'm with Kata. I'd call Jay right now, like, hey, we're down 2-0. Do you think you can come in here and figure this out in 3 days? I doubt it. He probably could. He's the best basketball coach ever. But yeah, I'm fine with that as well.
Where to begin? Okay, listen. So, if those moronic words don't come out of his mouth after the game. Do I blame Doc for the loss? Yeah. Like, I mean, at one point, Furkan Korkmaz, George Niang, and Matisse Thybulle, or not even Niang, maybe Paul, whoever else was out there, they were on the floor together at the same time. So I get the argument of, well, what do you want them to do? But the flip side of things is I'm okay with you kind of throwing darts blind at the wall and hoping something works. But you got to mix and match a little better, bud. Like Furkan, DeAndre Jordan, and Matisse Thybulle should never, ever, ever be on the floor together at the same time in a winnable game in the postseason. Okay, that's step one. But a large portion of the game, I was really sitting here like, man, what do you want them to do? Because there is no answer for Miami. No, kid, listen, I'm not defending starting DeAndre Jordan. I sent out a tweet 4 minutes into the game, anything but DeAndre Jordan. But what I mean is, like, Paul Reed was fine, but Paul Reed's not like this clear-cut answer to slow down the bigs of Miami, right? Bassie, who knows? Like, yeah, I'm all for trying it. Millsap came in. He didn't do anything positive. The small ball lineups didn't do anything positive. It was a nightmare last night. So I was giving him a little benefit of the doubt from the standpoint of he's undermanned. He's missing the MVP. Sure, it's not DeAndre Jordan. But what is the answer then, right? Then he utters the stupid words. Again, if you're right, if it's a smokescreen, Doc's off the hook right now for me. If it's not, I mean, my God, guys, how bad do you get to be at your job? How egotistical do you get to be at your profession before major change is needed? Now, obviously, nothing drastic is coming this series, but how do you watch? You're a top 15 basketball mind, top 15 head coach of all time, right? How do you watch their performance? So you got the eye test, right? What's the eye test tell you? DeAndre Jordan, for damn sure, ain't it, right? What do the numbers tell you? For DeAndre Jordan, for damn sure, ain't it? What's the scoreboard tell you? What's the flood? He's not it. So for you to come out and just tell people, like, smack them across the face with DeAndre Jordan and say, hey, I don't care what you guys like. We like them, and we're going to keep playing them. That's a problem, dude. So, again, I hope you're right.
Not only so we all love Sam Cassell, right? Sam Cassell's the guy Tyrese Maxey runs up to. Sam Cassell's the guy this. Sam Cassell is the guy that. If DeAndre Jordan starts again, Sam Cassell, Dave Yeager, who else is on the staff? Dan Burke. They all got to go. They all have to go. If you're watching film in this basketball game as a coaching staff, and maybe Doc is blind to it. Okay, Doc's blind to it. How many other people are in this room to where you go, oof,
right?
Ooh, maybe DeAndre, maybe DeAndre is not the plan. Maybe
right. And does he not listen to everybody else? Like
if he's that egotistical, then that's a different story. But man,
I mean, this is another topic that people are tweeting about over the last 2 days. The main reason the Sixers have no backup center to rely on is because of Doc's reluctance to use Paul Reed during the regular season and prepare him for this moment.
It's not. The Sixers had Joel Embiid and Andre Drummond up to the trade deadline. You went out and got a guy that made James Harden comfortable, and that was DeAndre Jordan, who I knew we all didn't think it was Lob City DeAndre Jordan, but
we thought it was a little better.
I thought it was a little bit better than what we saw the other night, that's for sure. But I get it. Paul Reed probably should have played more at times, but there was times where Paul Reed played this season. Everyone was like, "Oh, whoa, the G League's a different story than the NBA, huh?" So don't get me wrong; it looks really bad in retrospect now. But and everyone acts like Paul Reed was a plus 13 the other night, and Paul Reed still has yet to show he can come into a game and not foul. The only thing,
well, that's a major problem.
He's okay.
Well, a major problem with Paul Reed right now is, yes, we sit here and we watch DeAndre Jordan, and his age, meaning his old age, shows. Paul Reed's age, meaning his youth and inexperience, shows. Like, on Monday night, he made a great play. The Sixers, it was a 3-point game or a 1-point game, whatever it was. He makes a great play, and he grabs an offensive rebound. And I'm standing up screaming to myself, of course, because they can't hear me. But kick it out. Like, Kick it out. He tries to go up over Bam Adebayo, throws it off the side of the rim, goes the other way. They hit a three or whatever. Then later in the game, I know you guys saw his 2 offensive rebounds that netted an airballed layup, and then he came back down with it and he got stripped. Like, don't get me wrong. Is he the better option? 100%. But I will side with Gint on the fact that everybody needs to pump the brakes on the fact that this kid is like the savior and the Sixers will win the title if Doc just rides with him. And he had 5 fouls in 13 minutes, guys.
I know that's the biggest thing. You can't say have foul trouble. And then also you look at everyone's like, oh well, Max Strus and Gabe Vincent, they played so many minutes, and that's why they're ready to go. Well, Miami didn't have a hole the whole first half of the season like Ben Simmons was with this cap where the Sixers were grinding out wins against Detroit at home on a Tuesday night. Like, the Sixers weren't that lucky to be able to play youthful guys on a Tuesday night against Detroit. We had the Joel Embiid's fist pumping, beating Atlanta, who was the 9th seed. It wasn't that easy for the Sixers. So again, is Paul Reed better than DeAndre Jordan? Is he the better choice tonight? I absolutely think so. Is Paul Reed Nick Foles? No. And everyone, that comparison, everyone loves to make. It's not close.
All right, Kata, did we spend enough time on the backup 5?
No, I think Charles Bassey should start.
Listen, at this point, I'm all ears, dude. Like, I'm all ears because if you look at Bam and Miami's size and physicality, right? We all agree DeAndre Jordan's not the answer. DeAndre Jordan shouldn't see the floor, right? Well, let's go down the list to the 2 Pauls, right? Paul Reed and Paul Millsap. One's old, one's young, one's inexperienced, one's too slow. They're both around the same size. Are either big enough to compete and bang down low with Bam Adebayo? No. So body type, athleticism, youth, speed. What guy could you possibly throw and maybe just see the first 5 minutes if he can do anything against Miami's big? I mean, I guess it's Charles Bassey at this point. I don't know. This is where we're at. Until Joel, knock on wood, can come back in game 3, I'm doing anything tonight to beat Miami. And if that means seeing if Charles Bassey works in the first 3 minutes, that's what it means. Again, we're sitting here talking about just throwing shit at the wall and hoping it sticks.
Yeah, I'm not.
One guy, me and you said we were okay with seeing on Monday night. Kata owns like 5 of his jerseys. Verk.
He's gone.
He came in for a minute. Airball to corner 3.
I'm still
horrible defense.
I'm in on Verk tonight.
You're in?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's one of us.
So here's where my head's at, and then we'll kind of bounce off. I guess we can each kind of throw what we do. So I'm not starting Bassey tonight. I'm still going to start Paul Reed.
Yeah.
After Bam Adebayo, Miami's not big. Miami's not this Milwaukee,
right.
Boston where there's, or Toronto where it's like 6'8", 6'8". Like, there's not these huge guys. They're not there. And then I'm playing Niang and Tobias as your backup 5s, and I'm playing Khalil Small. DeAndre Jordan isn't touching the floor. Paul Millsap isn't touching the floor. If Paul Reed checks and takes the tip and has 2 fouls in the first 3 minutes, then I might maybe pull the Bassey card out of nowhere. But Philly shot 18% from beyond the arc.
Yeah, there it is.
They went 6 of 34. I don't think they're going to shoot 18% again. I don't think George Niang's going to go 7. So 34 isn't enough threes for my liking. It's not. I mean, it was a blowout, so like numbers kind of jumped. Obviously, it's so hard to take stats into consideration.
What are you looking for, bro? Are you looking for 40 plus?
No, 34 might be a legitimate number if it's a close game.
Right, or maybe they can hit like 40% of them, 38% of them.
I'll take 20% after the other. My God, dude, they couldn't hit the broadside of a barn.
So,
good.
No. You finish your thought.
Like, I guess that's kind of where I wanted to go next, because the Bassey thing was brought up, and maybe Bassey throws a wrinkle in their plans. I doubt it. Miami's going to stay true to what they're doing, whether Charles Bassey plays or not, but maybe. But Niang, like, and I guess this will kind of jump into my second biggest issue is this shot making abilities out of everyone the other night. And everyone's looking at the James Harden stat. Oh, dude, he only took 13 shots. And Houston Harden wasn't there. He didn't take 30 shots. Harden's not going to take 30 shots. It's not going to happen. It's not who he is anymore. So guys have to make shots for him, and everything's going to be a lot easier. Obviously, that's just how basketball is. So Niang 0 for 7, Maxey 1 for 6, Danny Green 1 for 5, Tobias 1 for 4 from beyond the arc. It's not going to happen. Harden had the most shots in the first quarter out of anyone on the court. Or maybe it was the second quarter. One of the quarters he had the most shots. He was looking to get to his shot. Harden can't beat this Miami team himself. It's not going to happen. Maxey has to play really well. Tobias played really well. And Niang, Danny Green. And even if they pull the Ferk card, because I'll tell you what, I'm out on the Shake card right now. You got to find the way this bench works is guys play well for 2-3 games at a time, and then they play terrible. We got to find who those guys are right now that are going to play well at this spurt. Now, like you said, the way Ferk played the other night, I don't know if it's him, but
he played well in garbage time.
Yeah,
not so much
meaningful time. But
right.
If Harden, the Sixers make, we'll say 27% of their threes the other night, Harden probably gets like 20 and 14, and we look at that game a little bit differently than 16 and 9. So it's so tough for
16.
He only had 5 times. Sorry, I thought he had 9 times. He only had 5 times.
They shot horribly off.
Probably closer to a double-double as opposed to. So that's where I'm at. You got to just shoot threes and play Niang in the back and as the backup 5.
Chris saying the transition threes from half court were really bothering me. They felt like they're from half court. I know what he's talking about. Tyrese Maxey had a few of them the other night where one was a heat check because he got a couple looks around the rim that he made. But then just the inexperience a little bit showed the other night. Tyrese Maxey did bother me a little bit the other night. But Kata, throw it to you next. Whether you agree with Gint or if you have another reason why the Sixers, came out sluggish the other night.
No, I agree. I mean, we need to see something out of Shake and Furkan. I know they're not going to go out and drop 30 points, but even if they make 2 threes, something to give the team a little bit of juice when some of the big guys are not on the court, they need something off this bench that's going to do something. And they just all look dead out there. The whole team looks lethargic.
Another thing to just jump on that, Dylan, is Miami is literally daring us to beat them from beyond the arc. There were so many clips the other night, and shout out Brock. I watched Brock's live yesterday. He kind of broke down the film and just looked at everything. And dude, the amount of times like Cody or Caleb Martin, whatever bum is on their team,
the
amount of time they're loading the lane and just leaving guys in the corner open, and they're getting kickouts, and we're hoisting air balls, we're hitting the side of the backboard, we're not shooting it. It's like depressing, and that's where again. Rockets Harden's not coming back. You're not going to see these sidestep threes. You're going to see 1 or 2 a game, and it's awesome when it happens. But they got to make shots, and that's my second point. And whenever you're ready for the third one, let me know.
Yeah, well, no, just going off the second one, it's where I'm at, dude. Like, don't get me wrong. Was James Harden anything close to what we needed him to be the other night? No. I mean, he shot 5 of 13 from the field, 2 of 7 from deep. Only had 5 assists, but. That wasn't the main issue. It's a issue, sure, but it wasn't the main one. The main one is exactly what you said. I don't know if everybody needs this news flash for them or this public service announcement, but when you shoot 18% from 3 in the league, you're not going to win many ball games anymore, especially versus number 1 seed Miami Heat on the road right now. So that was problem number 1. Their shot making ability around them. Again, you already read off the numbers. I'm not going to do it, but I mean, Harden led the team in makes with 2. From beyond the arc. Was that going to cut it? Absolutely not.
What? Ferk had 3.
No. Ferk was 3 for 5 from the floor. He's only 1 of 2 from 3.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, he had 9 points. But yeah, Maxey was 1 for 6. Niang was 0 for 7. Shake only taking 1 from deep, 3 from the floor is not okay. Danny being 1 of 5 is not okay. And that's what you just have to hope changes. You have to just think. That's probably not going to happen again. And if it does, it's going to get ugly. My problem with the game was that. My problem with the game was the lack of want again. And like I don't think anybody knew the Sixers had a game on Monday night outside of Tobias Harris. And by the end of the show, I want to see if Kata has a public apology for Tobias at the moment. But Tobias Harris absolutely balled the F out on both ends of the floor the other night. But outside of him, nobody showed up and nobody wanted to get on the glass. DeAndre Jordan wasn't solving that problem. Paul Reed, Charles Bassey, Paul Millsap, small ball. No one was solving that problem. And my biggest issue is what you said earlier. Miami's not this overly big, physical team, right? Like PJ Tucker's annoying, but he's a smaller power forward. Bam's Bam. And then what? Dwayne Dedman? Like they're not big. So the fact that you got absolutely crushed. I remember at one point the Sixers were only down by like 6 and Miami had 11 more shots than them. That can never happen.
The possession in the third quarter when it felt like they got 41 offensive rebounds. Mm-hmm. I was ready. That's when I was ready. Like I was like, okay, it was a close game at the point. I think it was like 8-point game. I was like, they can't win this game tonight. They just, like you said, they didn't have it. Whatever it is, we didn't have it.
Now let me ask you guys this: even when they made it a 5-point lead in the third quarter, they were leading by 1.5, which was awesome because they played so bad in the first half. Didn't the whole game just feel like an uphill battle? The whole game just felt like they were trying to punch up the whole time. You weren't going to, like, I remember just sitting here, like, and they were up, and I'm like, I'm excited, but I'm like, man, I don't think they're winning this game. It just felt like that from the whole time they were trying to punch up, and
it felt like that when you sent me the tweet that had DeAndre in the starting lineup.
Now let me ask you guys this again before you get into your next point. He said he just wants the bench to match the amount of Hero. Shake, Ferk, Niang with a combined 20 to 25. Is that possible?
It's possible, but like, how are we at the point where we need to name 4 guys or 3 guys to match one player on the bench?
Dude, they didn't even play Duncan Robinson.
I don't think he's going to play.
I mean, either, but like, can we have him?
I'd take him.
He would start. Like, that's not even a joke.
But again, what's your next flaw?
Yeah, what Chris just said, it's Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero just did whatever he wanted. 25-7. And Philly played so scared of Tyler Hero. Like, he's not this Jimmy Butler type guy with like this grit and he'll get in you. And when he has the ball, he's going to throw shoulders at you. Like, he just purely hooped out. Like, and Philly had no answer. And me and you talked about if we thought Thibault was going to kind of shadow him. Clearly that wasn't the case because he played much more than Thibault did. But it might need to be a thing. And they might need to do a lot of different things with Hero on the floor. But the problem is with Hero, when he's playing on the ball and Bam's in the game, Bam's such a good playmaker. So if he gives the ball up in space, Bam can really make plays. But like Philly got punked by Jack Harlow. They really did. And it's sad to see. But I don't think it's going to happen again. I don't think they would allow it to happen again. And then they didn't attack him. We talked about attacking Tyler Hero. They made his life so easy. He had fresh legs. He didn't get attacked on defense.
That was another major concern I had, dude. There were possessions at times. I saw James get him one-on-one on a switch, and he got him. Tobias took him, got him. Maxey took him, got him. They didn't hunt Tyler Hero enough on the defensive end. Nearly enough for my liking. Like, at all, dude.
Do you see how Miami is picking us up full court?
Mm-hmm.
Picking us up 94 feet. And don't get me wrong, Philly's getting shots off that. Like, they're just kind of getting by guys, putting up floaters and getting buckets out of it. But what it does, it just really wears Philly down. You're playing at a fast speed at all times. You're taking quick shots. That's why you kind of see 6 of 34 from 3 and stuff like that. Like, Philly has to just control a pace way better. And Tyler Hero was dictating every pace Miami was playing at. And if he wanted to slow the game down, he was slowing the game down, picking apart. If he wanted to play fast, he was playing fast and picking Philly apart. They need to find a way to kind of balance it out. Don't get me wrong. When you have Tyrese Maxey, he's able to get in the open court using what he does best, and that's his speed. It's nice to get a bucket out of it, but they got to find a way to slow the game down at points and find Tyler Hero and headhunt Tyler Hero like they did when they beat them.
Right.
When none of those guys played.
100%.
So that was my third point is Tyler Hero. Like, kudos to him. I hate him.
Sure.
He's like my least favorite athlete in the world. But he balled out, man. He did.
Did you guys? When they had the inside the huddle stuff going.
They need to rip that mic off Doc and give it to somebody else.
Before we move on, I just had to touch on it. The one was whatever. The one when he's talking about beating the press, as you just talked about, Gint, about how we're not just looking to beat the press, we're looking to score off the press, and that's two different mindsets, and that's two different things. I got that, understood it. Sixers did it a couple times well, liked it. The other one, man, where he talked about, hey guys, we're not going anywhere. We're just going to keep playing. We're just going to keep playing. And at the end of the game, that'll make us winners. Does anybody here know what that meant?
Sounds like some bullshit you say to a bunch of losers.
I don't know what that meant. I get it. Like, we're not, you're right, Doc. You can't leave until the game's over. So we're just going to keep playing. Now, can you explain to the audience how that was going to make you guys the winners at the end of the game? I'm at a loss of words for my guy.
Would you ask Pop that question?
Probably not. Nah. But Pop probably wouldn't have something stupid to say like that.
Pop wouldn't wheel DeAndre Jordan out of his wheelchair, start him in game one of the playoff series against the top 4 center in the NBA.
All right, let's get to tonight's game. And I want to start this off by a tweet. Let me find it. By my guy, Kai Carlin.
Oh, I thought you were about to say they tweeted out the starting lineup.
No.
DeAndre Jordan, I was clicking the X on this and not finishing.
No, shout out Kai. He said, call me crazy if you want, but I think Philadelphia wins tonight. Doc Rivers-led teams always have a tendency of winning games they probably shouldn't. Go back to the 2019 playoffs with the Clippers against the Warriors. #Sixers. Let's get into tonight's game, fellas. If the Sixers are to be successful tonight, Cod, I'll throw this to you first. Here's the headline. The Sixers will win if fill in the
Doc
mind.
Rivers retires at halftime.
Okay, love it. Love.
They were up 1.5.
Yeah, I think it's the third quarter issues that I'm worried about a little bit more. But all right, Doc's no longer the coach. You can't. The Sixers will win if.
Like it's
what I mean by this is take everything we just talked about.
It's such a cliche thing. They just have to make shots. That third quarter went off the rails when they just couldn't hit a shot. Like they couldn't hit a shot from anywhere. So again, it's so cliche. And also I'll throw in there if DeAndre Jordan isn't in the starting lineup, they'll probably win. But I hate to just harp on the same things the entire time, but it's so it stuck out like a sore thumb.
Right. No, I'm with you. Like that is probably issue number one to me. As if they just hit open threes tonight, they're at least in the ball game. They're in the ballpark if that happens. But again, you and I on Monday discussed of the three, which one, right? And a lot of eyes went to Harden. We sat here and talked about Tobias. Tobias is the one that showed up. To me, if the headline is to read the Sixers win it's if Tyrese Maxey balls out tonight. Like, Tobias Harris was phenomenal the other night. And that's not to say if Tobias Harris is phenomenal, but Harden and Maxey are both better, that he can't be the leader of the three. I just don't see an example of where the Sixers win a road game against the Heat without Joel Embiid, and Tobias Harris is the leading scorer of the three, shooting the most efficiently of the three. I don't think his game translates to take over. Like his 27, that will I feel like if he had 27 in the fashion he did, but Maxey had 34, it would I don't know. There's a different speed of the game. There's different momentum of the game when Maxey Harden takes it over compared to what Tobias's game brings. And I think truthfully, Harden's going to be Harden. I think he's going to get you tonight. I think he breaks 20 at least. But I don't think he's going to go out and get you 28, 27, 30. But he's going to get you 20 plus. I think Harris is going to get you around 20 plus. To me, it's up to the kid. And I know that's a lot of weight to put on him, but I think he at least has to give you 25, 26 tonight on efficient shooting. And then obviously, the other stuff has to fall in place. Like, it can't just be the three of them, but everybody else shoots 0 for 7, 1 for 6, 1 for 6. Like, they're going to lose the game again. But assuming George Niang hits 2 threes and Danny Green hits 3 threes or whatever the case may be, I think if Tyrese Maxey shows up, they'll win the game.
Can I add to that?
Sure.
So the way I look at game one for him is they had to sit down. Probably Sam Cassell, probably Doc, probably James, him, maybe Tobias. And they were like, all right, guys, like, we all got to step up. We all got to play really good. Like, Joel's out. And Tyrese thought that meant just try to turn into Damian Lillard. And I think they probably sat him down and were like, yo, we need you to step up, but
Yeah.
do what you usually do and just do it a little bit more.
Right.
Not
Don't shoot from the logo.
55 footers. Like, and again, it's tough. When you play without your best player, the next couple guys have a lot on their shoulders. You're seeing different looks you haven't seen all season. You're seeing double teams. You're seeing they're loading the lane on you a little bit more. They're daring Danny Green and DeAndre Jordan to try to catch a lob. What you did on the first bucket was that. That was pretty.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was the only good thing he did all night. But
hey, he had a block.
So again, like I think they probably told him like, hey, let's get back to this and let's just do it a little bit.
I hope so. And what I'll say to bounce off of that with Tyrese Maxey is one thing we've said all year long about him, even dating back to last year, is he just seems like he has it, right? He's got stones and the moment's never too big. The moment for a second looked a little too much for him last night. He was just rambunctious and taking shots he shouldn't be taking and playing I know he's fast, playing too fast, right? And I think that slows down tonight. I think a talk like that, if that was to happen, I think a lesson to be learned from game one was to happen. He's the guy that's going to bounce back from that type of ball game. Another question I had for you guys, like let's leave the three out of it. Let's leave Maxey, Harris, and Harden out of it. I know everybody has to shoot better, but like, Kata, who's the other that has to step up? And when I say step up, I don't mean score a lot of points, but knock down open threes, knock down open looks.
I honestly think it's like the whole bench together just needs, like, even if they shoot like 30%, just something like a little bit better where they just make a three. So it's not just like this big onslaught where Miami's going on a 12-0 run and just buries us.
He said George Niang needs to score literally any points. It is, man. If George Niang isn't scoring or shooting the ball well, he's a tough watch.
He's worthless.
It's a tough watch, dude.
Dude, he's so unathletic. Like, just so. And again, I'm not sitting here as this track star, high vertical guy talking about it, but dude, you're right. If he's not shooting the ball well, he is a tough watch.
And to his credit, he's not shy. Like,
no, hell, I wouldn't be either if I was him.
Puts him up, and they need him to. Like, and so I just mentioned how Maxey's got it, right? He's got the stones to bounce back. I feel like the mafia dad himself. He looks like a mafia dad to me. George Niang to me is just a guy who, okay, I shot 0 for 7. I'm in their building. Yeah, I'm going to knock down like 4 threes tonight. I'm going to talk some shit while I'm doing it.
Yeah, that question you just asked, Connor, that's who I was going to say. Because, again, if I'm Doc, which I'm not, George Niang's playing the backup 5 tonight, which means there's a lot of space, which means you're going to get a lot of clean looks, which means you got to knock them down, not miss 7 times.
Yeah. Listen, I think everybody's on the same page, at least in this stream. I'm sure Sixers Twitter has some other thoughts, but
no, I want them to miss more shots.
Yeah, shoot 10% from 3.
No, I meant Sixers Twitter as in, you know.
It can't be worse than Monday. It can't.
No.
Monday might.
That's a beautiful statement, Kim, because not only can like the shot making not be any worse,
the starting 5 can't be worse.
The backup 5 can't be any worse.
The only way it gets worse is if like Isaiah Joe randomly just got inserted in the starting lineup.
He might.
Don't say that, dude. That's not funny.
Abe said he reminds me of an alcoholic older cousin that talks about his basketball days in high school 10 years ago.
Sounds like Dan.
That's what I was about to say. It sounds like me.
All right, guys. Before we get into predictions, is there anything else tonight. Like if I gave you, we just talked about how they just hit shots, or if the backup five isn't DeAndre Jordan, they're in the game. But in terms of crashing the boards, transition defense, again, is there anything they can do differently, or is it strictly hustle and getting after the ball?
Yeah. Again, they can defend Tyler Hero much better than they did. That's for darn sure. I don't know what his plan is for Tyler Hero tonight, but it needs to be much better than it was the other night. And then after that, it probably is those two things. Rebounding the ball is super important. They're not using Tobias to guard PJ Tucker because he needs to be a bigger body to guard Jimmy Butler, but they need to find a way to contain PJ Tucker on the glass, on the offensive glass especially. So other than that, yeah, you hit it on the nose.
All right, boys. Well, let's go hit some shots in a couple of hours.
Shots?
Let's come up with a drinking game right here live on the show. What would be more fun tonight? Take a shot for every 3 made, or take a shot for every 3 missed? Because what's more likely? Like last game,
every time they turn
out if they miss.
Every time they turn the camera to Doc, he's like,
"That's a good one,
dude." Every time they show him, it's that.
Every time that Grant Hill says something stupid,
who's calling the game?
I don't know. Maybe it's not Grant Hill, but like
if we did every time DeAndre Jordan leaves the ground, we would be stone sober.
Last thing?
We could drive you anywhere.
Last thing. I know he's got a ton of experience and knowledge up there in that noggin of his, but still, when you see the production he puts out on the floor, does anyone else get bothered when DeAndre Jordan's constantly yapping on the bench, like talking to players?
Dude,
I know there's a lot of knowledge, and like he's not wrong for trying to help, but when I see, like, dude, how about you take some of that speech and you go use it, bud?
Dude, when he was talking to James and he like said something, James was like, and like started doing this, I was like, do you think James just like said like, just jump, just when they shoot, jump and try to block it like that? Like that's
when he was so out of position on the one Bam offensive rebound late in the game, like when Miami went on a run and the game was borderline starting to get out of reach, all the momentum shifted. And I don't know what he did, dude. He just didn't even try to box out Bam. He was like humping Bam's leg. I don't know what he was doing. He's hard. He's unwatchable. He's unplayable. He's unwatchable. This is an interesting one. Take a shot every time Miami gets an offensive rebound. I'll be blacked out.
Dude, that one possession the other night, you'd be – first of all, your bar tab would have been $900. You have to do this at home. You got to get handles for yourself. You can't do this at the bar. Dude, that one possession, I swear, it went on for 25 minutes. And then finally they got fouled. PJ Tucker screaming. Bam Adebayo's on the ground.
Yeah, that's when the game went to shit. There was also another one where it was like their third straight shot on one possession, and Tyler Hero banged the 3. And I was like, oh, that's the one. And while it's in, now that's going in. That's good. All right, boys, before we wrap up, I need predictions for tonight because it's not over if they lose, especially if Joel comes back in game 3.
Close to over. The series doesn't start until someone loses a home game.
Right. But it's very important. I think it's very important that they steal one in Miami. To beat Miami 4 out of 5 games, if they were to lose this one, would be a tough ask.
Agreed.
Again, we were positive on Monday. You got any more of that positivity in that White Claw can?
Yeah, they're going to win tonight. I swear to God, too. I'm being so serious. Dude, I swear. And let me preface this by saying I'm not the biggest Doc advocate, but I think Doc has some tricks up his sleeve tonight. I think they're going to make shots. People are going to make shots. Niang's going to make shots. Tobias is going to make shots. Max is going to hit a couple shots. Danny Green's going to hit a couple shots. And I really do think they're going to win tonight. I think Miami thinks they're going to walk in the building and absolutely smoke Philly tonight. Is Lowry playing?
No.
Okay, yeah, they're going to win tonight.
Got it.
I'll say they're going to win like 110, 103.
Ooh, 110, that sounds nice compared to like 80 they scored last.
Yeah.
I remember at one point there was 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter and they had scored 28 points in the entire second half so far. And I was like, wow, that was fun. Kata, what do you got for me tonight?
Negative Kata's coming back out. They're losing this one. They're done.
Some faithful fanatic.
Get a new co-host in here. Somebody.
Cycle them in.
They got no energy out there at all. Unless I see something different.
That's a great point. Got it. That is a great point. If they don't come out here like balls to the wall,
Yeah.
on the line type.
Well, it's a huge indictment on them and the head coach then.
That's why Paul Reed is so important to start. I think. Like, don't get me wrong, he might level
until he comes out and clotheslines Bam in the first 20 seconds.
He's gonna foul.
Hey, that'll hype me up.
He's gonna foul Bam on the jump ball, and we're gonna be like, oh, geez, here we go. But
listen, I've already seen 2 ejections in the NBA playoffs so far. Wouldn't be surprised to see a Sixers get thrown out tonight. I also think the third quarter is incredibly important. It's that's when they came out lifeless. They let Miami run them out of the gym. That's when they took the game from the Sixers last night. And I forget, I think it was TNT when they read the stat of Miami in the first series against the Hawks. They absolutely took the Hawks' hearts in the third quarter of every game. So Miami's been stellar to start every second half. What's that tell you? Eric Spoelstra's adjusting at halftime. The players are adjusting at halftime. Holy shit, Doc, can we try it on our own this time?
Yeah. Let me ask this real quick before you make your prediction.
Yeah.
Like, we were up 1.5.
Mm-hmm. I didn't feel good at all.
Agreed. But, like, what do you think Doc was saying? Like, all right, we're up 1 somehow. Like, let's just keep doing what we're doing.
We got this in the bag.
Yeah, we got this, guys. Like, keep it up.
DJ, get back in there.
It's a 15-minute halftime, right? Or like 18. Dude, Sixers are probably back out in the court with like 16 minutes left, like shooting around. Dude, I think they're gonna lose.
By the way, fuck Miami's crowd. Bum ass
they're all
fan base.
They keep trying to say it's the
fan base that doesn't even
show up. Yeah, leave earlier if you actually care.
Yeah. All right, we got 1 win, we got 1 loss. I can't find it in myself to say that they lose tonight. Did
you watch Monday?
But that's my point. I think they were in the game for 3 quarters of Monday night, and they shot 18% from 3, and the backup 5 couldn't be any worse. James Harden scored under 20. Tyrese Maxey scored under 20. Nobody played good outside of Tobias Harris, and they were in the game for 70% of it. If just a few of those things change, if they don't get drastically beat on the offensive glass, if they get back on D, if Tyler Hero doesn't cook them for 25, if some of those things change, if George Niang can show up or Danny Green can show up, somebody has to show up and be that other person for the Sixers tonight. I think somebody does. I'm going to go with George Niang, man. I think he's going to play more. I think Doc's going to have him at that. They're going to play a little bit smaller tonight. There's no way that dude shoots over again. There's no way he goes 1 for 5 tonight. He's going to get looks. And I think he cashes. I want to go.
If he goes over again,
wrap it up. Wrap it up.
I'll buy a Charles Bassey jersey and start talking about how he needs to play.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Philly 105, Miami 97.
Dude, you sound so unoptimistic when you just predict that win.
He's just doing it because the name's Phaithful Phanatics.
I just think they win. But again, it was the same thing with Game 6 against Toronto. I thought they would win. But from what I saw in the previous 2 games, I don't know how they were going to pull it off. I need an ass-whooping type performance tonight.
Got it. What do you think Matt Bear picked tonight? Shout out Matt Bear on my For You page.
Matt Bear is working on his next bandwagon probably.
Is he a Sixers fan? Is he a Sixers fan?
He is a Sixers fan. Yeah.
And he's an Islanders fan, right? Yeah.
He's Islanders, Mets, and Giants, and then Sixers because of me and KJ.
Wow.
Good little crew right there.
I haven't met or spoken to Matt Bear yet, but he seems like an interesting character.
Would love to have a beer with you guys.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of guys,
watch out. You might say you're drunk driving.
We'll talk about that another time.
Abe, hopefully see you soon. All right, guys, that is going to wrap up this Wednesday edition of the Phaithful Fanatics Show. Everybody go Sixers, and let's hope they can even up the series tonight in Miami. Have a nice night.